Chief Rex Troche started his new job as the Sarasota Police Chief last week, but actually to him, it's not a new job at all. He's been the interim chief for 8 months. He's been a Sarasota police officer since 2002, and he served in all 4 divisions in the department, from patrolling the streets to criminal investigation. So he knows what he's getting into. Congratulations, Chief. Thanks for joining us this morning.
No, thank you for having me, Linda. Thank you for having me, Stephanie. I appreciate it.
You were sort of born for this job, right? Your dad was a police officer.
Yeah, my dad was a Chicago police officer for 24 years.
Wow.
And at the age of 8, I can recall going to community policing events. And we would go to Lincoln Park. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lincoln Park in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And Cabrini Green.
Of course.
And so I would tag along. And it was a great opportunity for me to see community policing firsthand, right?
Wow.
We didn't invent community policing. It's been around for a long time. And I got to grow up in it. I got to help the elderly in Lincoln Park. We would feed them hot dogs, as simple as that sounds. But for a lot of them, that was the only meal that they were going to have because they were eating cat food as a way to supplement themselves. My experience in Cabrini Green, we would take kids to the movie theaters. A lot of those kids had never been to a movie theater. They never experienced the sight of a movie. So I got to see how important that was, and then I got to see how they built relationships with the police officers. So yeah, so I did grow up in it, and that's what I'm trying to bring here to the city of Sarasota.
What do you see community policing meaning here in Sarasota?
I think community policing here, and that's a great question, I like to call it partnership policing, right? So I think it's so important for us to go out into the community and build relationships. So that's what I've been doing since I was the deputy chief. So I meet within different communities, and we'll take Newtown for example, and I go to the salon, the barbers, to meet people in the community. I meet at Jetson's quarterly. We have great conversations with, they're the elders of the community. I call them the heavy hitters. And any issues or questions or rumors that they're hearing, they let me know, and I'm able to immediately mitigate that or give them information they didn't have. Because I always say this: if we're not giving information to our community, they're going to make it up, and a lot of times it's incorrect. So I'd rather be on the front end, mitigating any issues, having those discussions, than hearing things a month later or 2 months later when relationships have soured. So that's what I see community policing: going into the churches, going into the barber shops, going into the storefronts.
Well, we've got to change the perception of police officers. When I was growing up, police officers were king. I knew if I were around a police officer, I was safe. But kids in this day, they don't always have that feeling. How do we change that?
So that's a great question, and it has changed, and you're right, and I see that. And this isn't McDonald's, right? This isn't my way right away right now. This is going to take some time. So we're getting back into the schools. We're engaging with the kids at age 8, 9, 10. We did just recently, we did Books and Barbers, where Jetson gave away free haircuts, and our officers were there in different uniforms, little softer uniforms, and they're building relationships with the kids, having a great time. Those are the things that we have to continue to do. We just developed a program called Kids and Officers Promoting Solidarity, COPS. And so what we're doing now is, much like they did in the city of Chicago, our officers are going to Robert L. Taylor at night. It's usually closed, but we go there at night from 8 to midnight. We're bringing kids in off the street. We're developing relationships with them. Our officers are not in uniform. Our officers are in plain clothes. We're breaking bread. What better way to build relationships is to break bread together? So we're feeding the kids, they're training with the kids, we're playing basketball, they're lifting weights with them, and then at midnight we make sure, with a partnership with Parks and Rec, that those kids get home safely. We're not just saying, hey, this was great, it's midnight, go home. We're actually driving these kids home. How
do you let everybody know that you serve all of the community? Racial issues have come up all over this country. How do you address that?
Again, I think that's from communication. My relationship going to Dr. Martin Luther King, just recently, I walked the beat. That's what I say, I walked the beat. And I had such a great experience just recently, yesterday as a matter of fact. I'm walking the beat. I made contact with Town Hall, which is a business right there, and I met one of the employees. We had a great conversation. I walked a few more feet. There's a broken glass all over the street corner. One of the elders was there picking it up with his bare hands. I bent over and I started picking it up with my bare hands. And he told me, stop, you shouldn't be doing this. I said, no, I should be doing this. Everybody needs to see both of us doing this because we care. We have pride in our community. So as I'm doing that, we got to the smaller pieces. I'm like, I need a dustpan. So I walked to town hall and I asked for a dustpan, and the person at the register was hesitant, and she walked to the person that I had talked to earlier and said, we're not giving a dustpan, right? And she goes, he's my chief. We're giving him a dustpan. So those are the things that people need to see. And then I had a sergeant roll up, and he's helping me pick up the glass. That is catchy, right? People start seeing it, now they start doing it.
Well, thank you so much. This is so exciting to have you here because you're one of us. This is your home too.
Absolutely.
You've been here a long time.
And thank you to your family. I know this is an all-encompassing position for you and your family, and we really appreciate what you're doing for us here in Sarasota.
Thank you. And you can learn more about the Sarasota Police Department on their website at sarasotapd.org, and you can follow them on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Are you planning a big road trip for the summer?